Hey guys, Halfway Dead here. With the RLCS coming up this weekend, August 6th and 7th, I wanted to make a quick all-you-need-to-know guide about Rocket League esports and the Championship Series. So whether you're completely new to Rocket League esports or just want a quick recap of what happened so far, this video is for you. If you want to skip any of the segments, make sure to have annotations on to click your way through. Timestamps are also in the video description. What has happened so far? The RLCS is the biggest tournament in Rocket League history. Each region, EU and NA, had 2 independent open qualifiers. A whopping 20,478 players signed up in the first qualifiers, but only 8 teams from each region went on to the group stages. After the group stages, the top 4 teams moved on to the online finals, where they were competing for $5,000. The second qualifiers worked in exactly the same way, with the exception that the top 2 teams of the first qualifiers were automatically qualified for the next group stage. Points were given out to each team depending on where they placed in the qualifiers. The top 4 teams of each region have been determined and are now going to compete for their chance at the remaining prize pool of $55,000. What will happen next? This weekend, Saturday and Sunday, August 6th and 7th, the 8 teams will be competing in a double elimination tournament. Bracket is in the video description. The LAN event will be in Hollywood. Sadly, all the cards are sold out, but you can enjoy the tournament live on twitch.tv/Rocket League. The stream will be live at 10 AM PDT on both days. You can check that for your time zone by clicking the link, which will open a new tab. Rocket League terminology. If you're a Rocket League veteran or you've watched some tournaments before, you will already be familiar with these words, so feel free to skip this section. But I often see questions about these terms asked in Twitch chat, so I wanted to make sure everyone knows what they mean. You can also skip single terms via the annotations. 50-50. A 50-50 happens whenever 2 opposing players hit the ball at the same or nearly the same time. The name is kind of misleading because it suggests a random 50% chance to win the 50-50. That is not the case, as a player can angle his car in certain ways, depending on several factors, to make sure he wins and gets the ball past his opponent. However, some of these adjustments will happen right before the player hits the ball, and it's really hard for teammates to see where the ball is going to end up. So the best choice is to have one teammate positioned in a way where he can react to the worst possible outcome. Cheating. Cheating is a very confusing term. It does not refer to a player not playing by the rules. It actually means that a player positions himself in a risky position where you usually wouldn't expect him in order to catch the enemy off guard. Teams will often do this on kickoff to make sure they will be able to reach the ball first. Power shot. A power shot refers to a ground shot where the player flips into the ball right after it bounces. This is a great way to shoot because the momentum of the bounce carries over into the shot and the player only has to generate forward momentum. It allows for powerful shots and any desired height by different timing of the flip. The fast aerial. A fast aerial is the quickest way to get up fast in the air. It is not really a special maneuver, but it's significantly faster than usual, which is why it's called the fast aerial. If you want more in-depth information, watch Rocket Science Episode 1. Redirect. The term redirect can be used every time a player touches the ball and changes the direction of its movement. But it's usually used when the ball is already going in the general direction of the goal. A player that positioned himself in the enemy half will then be able to redirect the ball either on net or, if the ball was already on target, put it somewhere where the defender can't stop it. Dunk. A dunk happens when a player tries to hit the ball up high and an opponent comes from the top and blocks that hit. The opponent that blocks the hit will then be able to take the ball over the player because of his height advantage. Rotations. In Rocket League, players do not have set positions. They need to rotate their roles based on the situation. These rotations shouldn't be in a strict order, but rather depending on the amount of boost players have and their current positioning. The fake kickoff. In the fake kickoff maneuver, the player going for the kickoff dodges or drives away at the last possible moment. The idea is that the enemy can't stop and will hit the ball straight to your half. Even though it's now in your half, your team will have the possession on the ball, which is very valuable. Fields Backflip Man. Fields Backflip Man has become a meme for situations where a player does an accidental backflip instead of a fast aerial. It is a reference to the Fields Batman meme. The teams. Now before I go over the teams, I want to make it clear that if I say a team is, for example, bad at passing, that doesn't mean that they can't pass. These are all top tier teams that are capable of almost anything. It's just a relative statement in comparison to the other teams. Also, I will be referencing the power rankings. These are weekly rankings by a community committee that rank the teams of each region based on their past performances. Northern Gaming. The esports organization Northern Gaming recently picked up the team previously known as Weenam Girls. Their starting lineup is Remco, Maestro and Greasy. They move into the LAN finals as the first seed for EU and as such are a strong contender for winning the whole tournament. All their players are very strong mechanically and are able to play really fast, which allows them to put permanent pressure on the enemy team. They also make sure that each of their hits doesn't get wasted, by either playing it to a teammate or hitting it at the enemy backboard, which is the dangerous place as they are all very capable of scoring off that. Flipside Tactics. Flipside Tactics is the second seed for EU. Their starting lineup consists of Cuxia97, Marky Duda and Mike Roots. The team has been together since pretty much the start of Rocket League, and for good reason. They have been at the top of the power rankings for the longest time and have always been a force to be reckoned with. Their mechanics are absolutely phenomenal and they are good at keeping possession and passing to each other. With their 3, it's not a question of whether they are good enough to win, but rather if they will show up at their best. Mocket Esports EU. Coming in as the third seed for EU is Mocket. Their starting lineup will be Pesci90, Siki and Turbopolzer. They are currently second in the EU power rankings and known for being hard to score on, keeping their games to a low score all the time. When they have the ball, they are extremely good at keeping possession and using ground passes to their advantage. They have struggled in the past against F3 and especially NG when playing too passive, but I wouldn't count them out for the win as Pesci is known for stepping up big time under pressure. The Flying Dutchman. TFD's starting lineup is Vogan, Jesse and Dogu. They got to the LAN as EU's 4th seed by placing 5th in both group stages, and their current position in the EU power rankings is 9. They haven't been able to beat any of the top 3 EU teams in a long time, and because of that no one expects them to be able to win the whole tournament. That does however not change the fact that they have strong rotations and can play at a fast pace. Their downfall is that they have trouble scoring on the really strong teams. Vogan however is very confident that they will be able to outpace the NA teams and take them down. Kings of Urban. KOU is the first seed for NA. Their starting lineup is Fireburner, Jacob and Sad Jr. They have been playing extremely well lately and are undeniably the number 1 team in NA right now, taking the Rocket Royale tournament last Sunday without dropping a single game. On top of that, they never seem to have a really bad day. They like to play a fast pressure style, boost starving and demolishing their opponents until they find a hole in the defense. They are the hope for an NA tournament victor, as the top of EU is just looking really strong. Exodus. Coming in as the second NA seed is Exodus. Their starting lineup is Gary G, Turtle and Moses. The only NA team they lose to consistently is KOU. They play a more EU style, doing a good job at keeping ball possession and setting up passes. Garrett and Turtle both have exceptional mechanics and Moses is the solid backbone of the team. If they're able to keep up with the fast pace of the EU teams, they will be a challenge to anyone. iBuyPower Cosmic. The NA counterpart of F3 is iBuyPower. Their starting roster is Cronovi, Lacinio and Overzero. They have been at the top of the NA power rankings for the longest time. In their case, however, the roster has changed multiple times. The current iteration hasn't been able to show as much greatness, either overextending or not creating enough pressure. That said, with Cronovi and Lacinio there are 2 huge names on the team and they are all very skilled on the mechanical side. If they would take the whole tournament, it would be a huge upset at this point, but they certainly won't go down without a fight. Genesis. The last seed for NA is Genesis. Their starting lineup is Quinn, Pluto and Espion. In recent times, they haven't been able to take down any of the top NA teams, and this is sadly why most people don't expect them to go far. The players are all mechanically sound, but don't play enough as a unit. They often don't trust each other in defense, and they're not the best at keeping possession. When they show up, however, and don't make as many mistakes, they can be very scary. Alright, that wraps it up. Go follow the RLCS on Twitter and Twitch to make sure you get notified when they go live. If you want more esports now, check out the RLCS YouTube channel. I'd suggest watching Supersonic Avengers vs Flipside or Exodus vs KOU. You can also follow my Twitter at halfway.rl to stay updated about this channel.